Good afternoon. Right now, people across the world are mourning the death of Pope Francis. This is a live look at the Vatican, where they announced the 88-year-old pontiff's death overnight. And since then, as you can imagine, people from across Italy have headed to St. Peter's Square to pray for the Pope. And it is a similar story in cities all over the world, including right here in central Indiana. We caught up with some Hoosiers as they headed to Mass first thing this morning after learning of the Pope's death.
I myself especially appreciated his humility, and it does feel weird without him now. It feels empty. I love where he wanted us to go.
Leaders from across the world are now sharing their sympathies and their memories of Pope Francis, as Alice Barr reports. Hey,
del nostro Santo Padre Francesco.
The news from the Vatican of Pope Francis's passing stunning the Catholic world this Easter Monday.
Cari fratelli e sorelle, buona Pasqua.
One day after he greeted supporters from the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica to celebrate Easter services. Those cheers now giving way to an outpouring of grief and condolences from leaders around the world. The White House and President Trump writing, "Rest in peace, Pope Francis." Vice President J.D. Vance, who met with the Pope just yesterday, posting that his heart goes out to the millions of Christians all over the world who loved him, saying he was happy to see him, though he was obviously very ill, adding, "May God rest his soul." The brief Easter meeting during the Vice President's foreign travel comes after Pope Francis sharply criticized the Trump administration's mass deportation policies that he said would violate the dignity of migrants, whose care became a key focal point of his papacy, along with advocating for the poor, the marginalized, the environment, and for peace, including in Ukraine and Gaza. His movement toward a more inclusive church at times rattled traditionalists and inspired progressives, including many young Catholics.
Pope Francis represents to me, an evolving church, a church that is not stuck in time.
The Pope's legacy and humility earning praise today from leaders in the Middle East to across Europe. Italy's Prime Minister calling Pope Francis a friend whose advice and teachings never failed, even in moments of trial and suffering. This is now such a moment for the millions of Catholics and beyond, now mourning the loss of the people's Pope.
That's Alice Barr reporting. Two former presidents are also sending their condolences upon learning of the Pope's death. They include former President Biden, who is Catholic, as well as former President Obama. And you might remember former President Obama welcomed Pope Francis to the White House during his one and only trip here to the U.S. Our Jenny Runovich traveled to D.C. to cover that visit for us back in 2015. She's catching up with some of the Hoosiers who made that trip as well. You're going to hear from them tonight when our coverage continues on 13 News at 4. All right, to the weather now on this Monday afternoon. The rain has moved out. Sean, it is breezy out there.
It is breezy, but we're just going to have some nice quiet days.
Okay, good.
We got about 4 days of dry time. Well needed, too.
Yeah, no kidding.
But what an Easter Sunday we had. Saturday was soggy and stormy, but yesterday was really nice. It was our warmest Easter we've had since 2016. Breezy afternoon. You see that cool front pushing through. There goes the rain. Officially about 0.2 of an inch last night in Indianapolis. But this is what we have. Eastern part of the state right now has more sunshine. Rain there over in Ohio. And then the cloud cover a little thicker on the western half of the state, where temperatures are about 5 degrees cooler than yesterday afternoon. Muncie actually ahead of yesterday's pace. So it's 65 in Muncie, 55 in Lafayette, Crawfordsville. And temperatures will be cooler on the western part of the state right now. And look at these wind gusts, 25 to 30. So breezy for the afternoon. You can see the cloud cover here in Indy, way more bark than bite. 63 west-southwest wind is going to continue to stay breezy for the remainder of the afternoon, but comfortable. You should notice the mugginess in the air going down as we get into the evening here. And then overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, it will be much cooler than this morning as we bottom out in the 40s. We should have a good dose of sunshine on the way for Tuesday. A little hint of what's on the way for the middle part of the week. More on that in your 7-day forecast.
All right, we'll see you in a few, Sean. Thank you. Here's a question for you. How many rental homes is too many for a community? Well, the city of Fishers is attempting to answer that question tonight. The city council is considering a proposed cap on the number of rental homes in each neighborhood at 10%. It would also require people to register their home if they want to rent it out. 13 News spoke with the Fishers mayor about this plan. Take a listen here.
One, we're going to know who we can contact when we do have a problem with the registration. And then two, with a cap, we make sure that no particular neighborhood gets overly saturated with rentals. We're not banning rentals. 10% is still a significant portion of our housing stock. We're just making sure it doesn't get saturated in any one particular neighborhood.
The council meeting is set for 7 o'clock tonight, and the public will get a chance to comment. Certainly follow up on that story. At the State House right now, it is all hands on deck. Lawmakers have just days to go to pass a new 2-year state budget, and they've got to figure out how to fill a $2 billion hole. Just last week, you may remember the April revenue forecast came out showing Indiana is expected to bring in about $2 billion less than originally expected. So now they got to figure out how and what to keep and what gets cut.
If anybody has the audacity to come and ask us for more money, more than likely just take them out.
I'm sure that, with very clear eyes, steel in our blood, we are going to be able to come up with suggestions on different ways that we can come up with savings here and there.
Some of the potential ideas for bringing in additional revenue include raising the state cigarette tax, which hasn't happened in about 17 years. Our Emily Longnecker is tracking the developments hour by hour. She'll be joining us live tonight on 13 News starting at 5 with what happened so far today. Lawrence police tell us a 15-year-old boy was shot this weekend after allegedly trying to break into a car. It happened early yesterday morning in the parking lot of an apartment complex just off 56th Street. Neighbors say they woke up to police and damaged cars.
A male attempted to get into the caller's car, and then the caller shot the male. 3 individuals ran. I'm trying to get further.
The boy was rushed to the hospital with what police described to be life-threatening injuries. Officers say the suspected shooter stayed on scene and is cooperating. A 19-year-old faces criminal charges accused of driving while intoxicated, causing a hit-and-run crash downtown. Police tell us it happened around 1 a.m. Saturday on 13th Street and College Avenue. Police say 2 men were hurt. The driver now facing a preliminary charge of leaving the scene of an accident causing catastrophic injury. And 2 13-year-old boys are now under arrest after a police chase downtown. It ended at Meridian and South Streets near Lucas Oil Stadium. Police say they were first called to the area because somebody called in about hearing gunshots being fired. Both teens are also accused of auto theft. Officers say they found marijuana and a pistol in the car after the chase. Happening today, the family of a Hamilton Southeastern grad killed in a car accident are planning to hold a demonstration, a rally outside the sheriff's office. They're calling for answers and transparency when it comes to the investigation into how Mason Alexander died. Alexander was killed when a car he was riding in tried to pass another vehicle, overcorrected, and then ended up crashing into a tree. The family says they've been left in the dark about what's going on. The chief deputy prosecutor says this type of investigation often does take time. This afternoon, Alexander's family plans to rally at 3:30 in front of the sheriff's office in Noblesville. Also happening today in Brownsburg, Main Street will be officially back open. And a lot of businesses along there are certainly celebrating that. This has been a long-awaited move for businesses in that area. The city says the closure was for major improvements to things like utility lines and sewers. The city also added a new stormwater system. So now drivers will be able to travel again along Main Street starting this afternoon. It's been an eventful Easter weekend for so many families here in central Indiana. For some of them, it includes this right here, a day at the Vic to see the Indians play. And before the game, mascot Rowdy hid hundreds of eggs for an Easter egg hunt. Kids also got to get pictures with Rowdy. This was the first egg hunt, by the way, at the Vic in 6 years. Organizers say it's a great way to celebrate Easter and baseball.
They'll be running around on the field, grabbing the eggs, and when then the Easter egg hunt is wrapped up, Rowdy will be taking pictures dressed up as the Easter Bunny. So we're really excited to get that Easter experience out here for the kids.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of fun. Glad the rain moved out too. The Indians won their Easter matchup 10-6. They're on a roll right now. This is their 5th straight win.